So, all right, well, let's take a step back a little bit, I guess. So we know that in the current environment, because of the shakeup that's going on, there's going to be some businesses that are going out of business. There's also going to be opportunities for other businesses to acquire smaller or weaker businesses. So let's start first. Let's say for somebody out there who's a solar contractor and they're looking to prepare to sell their business, what should that business owner be focusing on right now? What's going to make their business the most attractive for a potential buyer?
When you start thinking of your business almost like an appreciable asset, like a home, over time, your house is going to appreciate probably 5% of a year. So if you just ran a nice operation, you're making $2 or $3 million a year, and you're paying the bills, you got a retirement fund and all that, that's great. You might just ride that out and then you retire at 50 or 55. But I'd like you to think about this. Think about if you invest in your business, as in keep a really good crew, you got really good books, that business is appreciating. Because when you eventually want to get out of the business, you're probably going to get 3 times your profits. So if you're making $300,000 in profit, that's bona fide, it's good books, you're going to probably stand to reason about $900,000 or so. There's a range there. And that's what we can talk about, is what creates that range. But let's just say along the way you bought another company. Let's say you bought a company just like yours, and now your company is doing $600,000 in profit. You're doing well enough where you might even buy the real estate that you actually park your trucks and hold your inventory and stuff. That makes you even more valuable. So the more you kind of start adding, the analogy is with your house. When you put on a new roof and you put on a solar system, you're adding value to your house. So when your company gets to about $1 million, those multiples will start going up. If you get your business to go to $3 million EBITDA, which is basically just your profits minus what you would have to pay somebody to take your role, let's call it $125,000. If you get your EBITDA, or let's just call it profit, up to $3, $4, $5 million, you might be worth 6 to 9 times on you. So now you're looking at real serious money. We started at being able to sell your business for, it's a nice little small solar business for maybe $1 million. I've sold a lot of those kind of businesses, and that's where most of the audience probably is in that range. But I just want you to just plant the seed. Think about buying out, because if you bought another company like that, usually the seller, he'll finance a good part of that. You don't have to go to the bank necessarily for that. Not always, and that's part of negotiation, but you might just keep your eyes open. I tell everybody, keep your mind open to being sold, buying somebody or selling to. Because if somebody came up to you and says, hey, I'll give you $40 million for your company, sometimes an offer is really worth taking. So the idea is keep your mind opening and ask and let people know I'm interested. And when you talk to people like me or investors that you run into at conferences or whatever, ask them, what would I do to my company to make us more attractive to you guys? What can I do to make it more valuable? So I'll just go down the list. Really good, clean books. 2, have a really good reputation. That's kind of, do really good work so you're not having to go back and fix your jobs. I wrote down a couple other things here. Just good systems in place. You got a great sales team. Your sales are it's just a machine, and you have just people that love being there and they're not moving on. Let's face it, workers are getting poached all the time. This is in every industry, but especially in construction. These are like athletic teams. When you have a good team, then people want to be part of a winning team. It doesn't matter if they're the installer, the sales, it doesn't matter what they're doing. They like feeling part of that, because usually there's a little bonus at the end of the year for everybody, which is nice. And people like to work with other successful people. People take pride in their work. So if you have all those things, you've created that DNA in your company. I'll tell you, buyers, they see that. That's what you're looking for in another company. If you're on that side of the fence, it's like, hey, what's the culture of this? Or do people take pride in their work? That's what you're looking for.